Gender. Sometimes I feel that I want to argue on this point that is gender really relevant when soul does not have a gender? Or does soul have a gender where you have a male soul and a female soul? I've been trying to meditate on this and trying to read about this from a viewpoint of various spiritual texts. The idea of gender is for sure irrelevant when it comes to a soul. Since the soul does not have any gender, and when you try to look back on it, you understand that the entanglement of souls causes gender to flip, and the choice of a male or female based on various factors. Bhagavad Gita talks about an example where the king loved the deer, so he became a deer in the next lifetime. There are other examples on this where whatever you desire, if you are crazy about beautiful girls, then you will become a beautiful girl. Whatever you think of when you die, or whatever is having the highest impression in your mind when you die, your soul would go in that direction, and that's why the idea of taking gender and analyzing somebody is a fallacy. When you look at marriages and birth, two critical aspects. You have no control over your birth, which is based on the karmic entanglement and your account of the last lifetime, but you might believe that you have some control over marriage. Now, there are cases when you can get entangled to somebody you marry, or you might not get entangled to somebody whom you get married. Sometimes I think that people who are close to me, and I'm talking this in terms of a gender neutral thing, I assume the last lifetime I was a man or a female, that hardly matters to me in terms of analysis. But the spouse of the last lifetime, if she's too attached to you and you are born somewhere, he or she will take birth as your sibling at the new place. That's a fair way to look at it, because he or she wants to catch up. But in the next lifetime, he or she might have the same gender, might have an opposite gender. And he or she might not remember what happened the last lifetime. So when you look at somebody, when you're trying to do an analysis, or when you start thinking deeper about how you look people, how you identify soul, you understand that gender is really irrelevant, because it flips every time. You're born sometime as a man, then again as a woman, then again as a man, so it hardly matters to look at somebody and get attracted or attached to his or her gender or his or her beauty. So when you look at somebody and you close your eyes and when you try to observe his aura or his psychic body, and you can analyze how does his soul look like. So for example, when I look at somebody, the beauty really lies in his aura. The aura is beautiful of vegan because they have this idea of doing minimum damage to the nature. So if I see a very beautiful woman, or if I am a woman, if I see a very beautiful and rich man versus a vegan who is kind, I think the aura of that vegan is much more pure and I'm attracted to that aura and less to a physical body of the opposite gender. And once you realize all these factors, you will have the feeling and the understanding that gender is nothing. In fact, as a man, you feel powerless because you cannot reproduce. So that feeling of powerless is something that weakens you out, but other than that, gender is just an illusion. As time is an illusion, the options that you take on the world are an illusion because you will get to the same iso energy surfaces. You're living on the same. You're living on one of the bubble universes that are created, and the only way in which you can increase the net outcome is by chanting. Now, chanting does not mean praying to a god because God told us to pray. By chanting, you can activate and understand yourself, clean up your soul, and once you clean up your soul, you can do the manifestation that you want to. So it's hardly anything to do with praying to an external entity that resides in heaven or someplace, but in the starting, it's very hard to get your mind there to get it done. So always, all path, all tracks, all methods are right when it comes to chanting, because ultimately you get there. So in conclusion, I would like you to rethink about the gender biases that you have when you observe other human beings, because gender is also an illusion like all other illusions that we face.